Good day and welcome to Bike Talk, only here on Inquirer Mobility. I'm your host, Artie Lopez. This is our very first segment that tackles anything and everything that's all about two-wheeled mobility. And a lot of people are having questions and apprehension about shifting to the motorcycle lifestyle, getting to and from work on a daily basis in this complicated situation that we're in, where you can't really practice proper social distancing when you're taking public transport to work. And we have a very special guest who has a lot of experience in the field, Raul Ylanan of Motori Moderni. Take it away. How's it going, people? Welcome back to Inquirer Mobility. I'm Artie Lopez, and this is your mobility update. We have a very special guest tonight. This is Raul Ylanan of Motori Moderni Corsa. How you doing, Raul?
I'm good. And nice to see you, Artie.
Nice to see you. We haven't seen each other in a long time, and it's great to catch up, although virtually.
Yes, well, better than nothing.
I know, you bet. Well, after this clears up, we better catch up with some coffee. Much better that way.
Yes.
All right, let me jump right into it. As you can see on the line right there, it says, is the motorcycle lifestyle for you? In this situation where we're, in varying versions of quarantine and situation changes and it's kind of unpredictable sometimes, one thing is for sure, people are sort of like really trying to adapt to this new norm and trying to, go with the changes. And one of the major changes would be mobility. And now people are thinking of shifting into the motorcycle lifestyle, the two-wheel lifestyle. There are a lot of people out there who've had some experience before. They've ridden motorcycles before, probably have motorcycles with them, but want to, change the way they're going to ride this time on a regular basis. And a lot of people, of course, have no experience at all. So it might be overwhelming. So you're the right person to ask you before we dive into all those things. Why don't you give me a little background on what you do, Raul?
Okay, well, we run a business called Motori Moderni. It's 4 years old now, and basically we're a dealer for premium scooters, motor scooters. I guess the best description would be they're lightweight motorcycles, but they're pretty much suited for lighter use, I guess you could say that, and for I guess they're more accessible to the less experienced rider. So in terms of tonight's topic, I think it works out great. That this is probably the segment that a lot of first timers or people transitioning to more of a two-wheel lifestyle would probably be looking in that direction.
That's right. Well, for the first timer, there's so many considerations, and definitely it could be overwhelming. Like as I've always thought, motorcycles compared to automobiles, they're a lot more diverse. There are more motorcycle types, more even the kind of people who ride motorcycles. There are so many kinds. From all walks of life, from A to Z, polar opposites, etc. Even if you want to go down to the social classes, it's all totally polarizing. A lot of differences out there. So
Yes.
for the first timer, what would you suggest he should be considering first?
Okay. Well, I guess. I think that there's two directions that question can go in. I guess the first would be as the first time rider or as a person transitioning to the two-wheeled lifestyle. How do you equip yourself? So what type of bike do you want to use? And how do you equip yourself for safety and your own protection? And of course, how do you get the right skills and the right mindset to ride a motorcycle? Because we both know that it takes a different sort of consciousness level out on the road because you're so exposed. And so well, like it or not, most road users in our country are not motorcycle aware. And when I say motorcycle aware, I don't mean, sure, they know motorcycles exist and that they're out there, but not when I say motorcycle aware, I usually mean giving due respect, sharing the road, that type of awareness.
Yeah. So many things to consider.
Yeah.
as a viable means of transportation, what would you say would be the advantages of a motorcycle over a car?
Okay. Well, in you said it, no, in the current context of where we are at in terms of the this public health issues that we're dealing with, um, definitely the motorcycle or the scooter, for that matter, will help you maintain the social distancing that we're all so concerned about. Especially if you were a commuter before and you used mass transportation, where you're in close proximity to a lot of people. Many people will probably not be comfortable with that idea for some time. So looking at a motorcycle or a scooter as a way to get to and from work or school is a viable option. It also has other advantages in that it's fairly cheap to run, in terms of fuel costs and maintenance, if you were to compare it with a four-wheeled vehicle, for example. And getting in and out of congested areas, of course, is much easier. You take up a lot less space on the road in terms of getting to and from your destination, and it's easier to park. So
Right.
those are things that might make it attractive to a first-time user,
Yeah,
especially.
those are the pros. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And
Yeah.
of course, well, it's but natural to be a little bit daunted by it, or be, apprehensive, or in fact, a lot of people would have to get some clearance from the better half, so to speak, if to get into that, because to be honest about it, the risks are also different. They're magnified, actually, and
Yeah.
of course, just to put it out there on the table, and say it straight, you don't have the benefit of having a metal cage around you to protect you from collisions.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I've always said, because I've also had some riding experience. I've ridden motorcycles, several types of motorcycles before. Maybe, I don't know, maybe for 5 years I rode a bike a long time ago. Then I stopped, and I want to go back into it. But the thing is, what I always said is that whether or not it's your fault or your error, you always get the disadvantage when it comes to potential injury, or any kind of mishap. It's magnified on a motorcyclist because he's exposed. You're basically riding on an engine with two wheels,
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
go ahead.
that actually alludes into one of the things for me, when I talk to first timers or customers who are new to the scene, is that your mindset as a rider has to be totally different from when if you were a driver of a car. Um, Being on two wheels, as you said, you're exposed not only to the elements but to basically every hard object around you, whether it be
Exactly.
moving, whether it's a moving hard object or a static hard object. So
Right.
definitely the risks are much greater,
Yeah.
and so that requires from you as the rider a totally different sense of awareness.
Exactly.
And I think one of the pieces of preparation processes that's most important, aside from buying the equipment and getting a good helmet and all of those that we could probably get into later, is equipping yourselves with the right skills.
There
Um,
you go.
and most people don't realize that there are ways to get educated, I guess is the best
Yeah.
term. There are courses out there that are very well laid out and professionally done, and they don't cost that much, which will equip you to be safer, more,
Right.
uh, and a more responsible road user, since we do need to share that limited space with other vehicles.
Right. So, there are a couple of parallelisms I can put into that, but like I said, that is the most important thing that you need to invest to if you're seriously considering shifting into the two-wheel transport lifestyle, right? So, skill first and foremost. It's essential, it's crucial to invest in some what professional instruction, so to speak. And there are actually some really legitimate schools in the Philippines where you could learn that. One is
Yes,
I think the Honda Riding School,
yes,
Honda
the
Safety Riding School. Is that right in South?
center. Yes,
Oh, there you go. And of course, if you're jumping into getting a bigger bike right away, if you're and a lot of people do that, get a Ducati Monster or uh, some cafe racer type or whatever. Yeah, there are schools there that offer that kind of instruction. And if you're like you want to advance your skills, if you've ridden a bike before, they say you never forget, but you need
That's
to
true. Yeah.
refresh.
Yeah.
In this case, you really seriously have to refresh. That's just an old saying, but in
Yeah.
reality, the demands of riding now is totally different from, if you've been riding motorcycles years back, it's different now. I mean, there are a
Yeah.
lot more cars. I have to be straight about it. People are rowdier on the street now. I mean, I'm sad to say, drivers from any kind of walk, if they're inside a truck, a car, an SUV, a supercar, an exotic, an underbone, whatever. Man, it's a noticeable vacuum of manners out there. It's like,
The level of aggression is higher. Yeah.
I know, and I'm being
Yeah.
calm about it. But the thing
Yeah.
is, those things you have to prepare for. So many things. So invest in the proper skill. Um, have your solid mindset, established already. What you're gonna need your and use your bike for, and then of course. Emotionally, you have to be okay. Like if this is going to cost your relationship or your marriage, then I don't know. You have to think if it's going to be worth it, right? And
The
then
the whole, the whole getting to the decision of making the purchase and getting the
I know,
permission to do it can
I know.
is a whole episode by itself.
You bet. And there are a lot of wives or husbands out there who are watching, who may have some very creative skills in acquiring a motorcycle before the permission. So
Yep.
let's not get into that. I'm sorry, I
No,
don't want
we
to be
don't
a
need to get into that now.
I know. So once you've invested in the skill, decided what you're going to use the bike for, it would be very what do you call this? Useful and practical to get advice from longtime motorcycle riders. And a lot of people actually go to the bike shop owners because normally these are the guys who are passionate about riding. And like you, I've known you as a rider for a long time. Your son's ride as well. Nico is a fantastic motorcyclist, and he reviews bikes for magazines, etc. And so you guys have been immersed in the motorcycle lifestyle. So people like Raul is a great resource person to ask if we have 100 questions about motorcycles, and he can answer them. You bet.
Well,
And then yeah,
I think
establish your budget too. Go
yeah,
ahead.
since you mentioned tapping into the community, which is I can't stress enough. A lot of people may not realize how close the rider community can be.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
um, and it's not just the premium brands. We're not just talking about the guys who spend over 1 million pesos for motorcycles.
Right.
You see it in the mainstream segment as well.
Yeah.
They look out for each other. They support each other in their whatever causes or the things that are important to them. So I can't stress enough that the riding community and the community of riders is a very close knit one. So if you're looking for advice or if you want to get tips, that's definitely a major resource that you shouldn't ignore.
Great. And you know what? That's definitely very useful words of wisdom. But let me run down the pros of owning a bike. Okay, we've sort of like enumerated what the disadvantages of or what the negatives of being on a motorcycle. On the positive side, it's a totally different experience. One, of course, you have the advantage of mobility. You occupy a smaller space on the road, so you have, you can get to a place faster from A to B because traffic is less disruptive to your route. You can actually make your own route, but even following the rules, you can get there faster. Second, um, it is at the same time a mode of enjoyment. So if it's natural for riders to converge one day on a weekend and get on a ride and go somewhere, because you feel the rush of speed, you feel the wind in your hair and your body, and just basically being one with the machine, literally, because you control it with your body gestures, right? You can
That's
turn
right.
with just leaning. Any twitch or a synapse from your body, it translates into input to the motorcycle, and the motorcycle will react. And depending, you can every day is a learning experience for you, and you can always like get better at motorcycle riding, and you can enjoy it for the rest of your life until you're really old. You just change
That's
the kind of bike you're going to be riding, though. Right.
yeah.
So
That's
yeah, so it's a whole new world. It's a wide world, and so many people are being drawn by it. But I would like to advise people to also be really judicious and open minded and smart about it. Of course, the passionate part of it is very attractive. You can get sucked into it by the romantic aspect of riding a motorcycle, but be sensible about it when you get into it, because all those factors that you have to consider really have to be considered.
yes.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Raul.
Well, I agree. Definitely, the sense of community is a great resource. The sense of freedom you get from being out on the road
Yeah.
on a bike is until you've experienced it. Not many people realize just how addictive it can be. Um,
Yeah. Sorry.
but I guess since we're also talking about people who are thinking about, first timers who are thinking about it, I don't want to sound like they necessarily have to aspire to high speed, high power machines.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many, as you said, a very diverse market of machines out there.
You
Um,
bet.
you've got brands and configurations that are meant for speed, meant for long distances, uh,
Yeah.
for
Cruising.
meant for cruising, and meant
Yeah.
for purely commuting. So
Yeah.
the spectrum is so wide,
You
but
bet.
definitely the stuff we talked about earlier about being safe, being smart, relying on the community, and getting the most out of it. That applies to whatever bike you ride.
Exactly. That's the compulsory stuff.
Yeah.
Also, this I have to say, because it's also very important to consider, uh, extending or enhancing your insurance policy, because honestly speaking, your risk doubles. I'm not kidding. I mean, that may not be an accurate computation, but the risk of you getting hurt is real, and is also, it has to be. If you have people, if you're not like single and no other family or whatever, then you still have to take care of yourself, but even more if you have family around you. So that's one thing to consider. But you know it's really possible to ride a motorcycle safely and happily for many decades, and eventually, like you get some boo-boos with a car anyway. So it happens, but with mindful riding
Yes.
and sensible riding, uh you know that's definitely a possibility. And I know a lot of people who've done this, who've grown old riding motorcycles, and I envy
True.
them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
There you
You're
go.
right. The risks are always there, and the same
Exactly.
risks exist for four wheelers as well. So
Right.
you're right. I mean, it's just a matter of being prepared and being smart about it. Um,
Exactly.
uh, the enjoyment that you can get from a bike um, more than pays for itself. But yes, I mean, if for you to go out there and think that nothing's going to happen to you and that there are no risks would be the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah. Right. I don't want to say the K word anyway.
Yeah.
What? Who? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, yeah. It's very important to understand that if you're gonna seriously think into getting into the motorcycle lifestyle. And there are a lot of advantages, especially in this kind of situation we're in. It's a lot more. It's easier to maintain. It's easier to get around with. And there are like 100 types of motorcycles for you to choose from. I guess you have to establish how much you're willing to spend. Then when you see a better bike, you realize, no, that's not what I'm willing to spend. I'm willing to spend more. I just didn't know that. It happens. Careful too.
Yes, it always.
So yeah, utilize the internet. Do a lot of research. If you're eyeing a bike, read the specifications, read the reviews about it, watch some videos, and then compare it with at least four more motorcycles of the same make, category, and all of those things, and think a lot before you plunge into it. And don't just plunge into it, ease into it, because that's how you get into it intelligently and get out of it intelligently as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess when since you touched on the decision making process of making a selection, I think it's important. Yes, of course, you want it to be reliable. Have be You can run it for a reasonable cost. I guess one thing we haven't touched on is, and I think the motorcycle market tends to be a completely different animal from the car market. And when we talk about resale value,
Yeah. Okay.
because when we talk about resale value, boy, two-wheelers depreciate in value much faster
Not a car, right?
than cars do. Um,
Mm,
Especially when we're talking about the lower end price range of
right.
motorcycles.
Right.
Um, Not necessarily because of how they're used, but because also they tend to be designed to be sort of not as durable because they're
Yeah.
meant to be cheap
Very
to
cheap.
buy
Yeah.
and cheap.
Very accessible. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if I were a first time rider transitioning and I wanted to do this for the long haul, then one consideration I probably would want to make is, do I invest in a brand or a type of motorcycle or two-wheeler that holds its value very well? And there are only a few that really do hold their value exceptionally well.
That's
Um,
true. That's true. So I guess
we're lucky that we happen to we happen
yeah,
to be
exactly.
in that
I
segment.
was gonna say that if you're gonna get into your first bike and you can actually plunk a little bit more budget into it, better get the better bike, right? Because it's not only for safety purposes, it's for your satisfaction. Because it's one of the worst feelings is realizing you could have gotten a better bike after buying it, you know, a month ago. So,
It
so
happens. It
get the
happens. Yeah.
best bike that you can, and go right into it, and with good advice as well. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
um, one of the most classic and one of the most known brands and the most enduring brands would be the brand Vespa, and like a lot of things from Italy, you know that it's made with passion, with quality, with a lot of thought, a lot of art, and not only that, also mechanical durability. These things are crazy durable, and uh, what are the brands that you're dealing with in Motori Moderni?
Okay. Well, in our particular case, we're an exclusive Vespa dealer.
Okay,
So we don't only sell the scooters; we service them. We sell genuine spare parts as well as accessories for Vespa. Um,
awesome.
Really quick backgrounder: the Vespa brand will be turning 75 years old next year.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's definitely made a name for itself um, around the world. And a lot of
Wow.
people refer to it as the most beloved scooter on the
Yeah.
planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's instantly recognizable. It's become a symbol for Italy. Um,
Yeah.
in some ways, more so than a Ferrari,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or,
I would
or
say.
and you mentioned that it's made with a lot of passion.
Yes.
It's very stylish, um, and it's basically a heritage brand. I mean, if you
It is.
think of other brands, whether four wheels or two wheels, it would definitely be up there in terms of having a long history with a lot of people who are just absolutely crazy about it for
Yeah.
whatever reason, from Hollywood stars to Formula One drivers who've owned Vespas.
You bet. You bet.
Plain folks like you and me. I mean, we're attracted to it for different reasons, but
Yeah.
it has staying power that very few brands can match.
Exactly.
Over 18 million Vespas have been sold around the world.
Oh my God, that's
So
a testament to its viability and quality and all that, you know. And it's not just a brand; it's a lifestyle. Once you get into it, and if
yes,
once you visit Motori Moderni, you'd see that the brand is not just about the motorcycle; it's about getting into an entirely different lifestyle. And where
right.
can they find Motori Moderni?
Oh well, okay. We're located actually in Santa Rosa, Laguna, to be specific, in the Ayala Mall,
Yeah.
which is in New Valley, in the Ayala development. We're actually one of maybe only two or three dealerships that located in a mall. I know
Oh,
that may be kind of weird for the industry, but it's also even stranger now for now that we're in the modified ECQ. Malls are not the most popular place to visit these days, but
okay.
but
But are you operating these days?
well, actually, we are ever since Laguna transitioned to MECQ.
Yeah.
We're operating on 50%.
Okay. Okay, we're
So
experiencing a little bit of a lag, I guess, due to the connection, but it's all right. Um, Definitely, there's so much to talk about, and we're going to be doing this another time if you're game.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a topic that's we're just basically scratching the surface. It's an
Yeah.
iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I suggest that I guess we've covered a lot in a short span of time that we've conversed here. And if you are seriously thinking of getting into the motorcycle lifestyle, or seriously thinking of going back if you've ridden before, or if you're just thinking of riding a little bit more, I guess it's high time to really try to assess the situation. I guess think of how you have to be safer in these times, and yeah, all those considerations that we've discussed. Budget, permission, consent, and then
Yeah.
of course, the most important aspect, aside from getting the right bike, getting the proper safety gear. Okay, we that's a whole new discussion right there. But
Right. Yeah.
there are standards that you have to follow for your own safety that will save your life. Invest in your skill, right? And it's very important, because that is definitely more than your helmet would save your life, because that would definitely prevent you from getting into really hairy accidents or situations that normally would be prevented if you had the extra skill. And believe me, learning from the pros, it's so easy to get confident learning a few tricks in the motorcycle, and you can go fast, etc. But getting out of hairy situations, that requires a lot of experience, a lot of science, and yeah, instruction from professionals. So Raul, it's a fantastic, nice time to catch up with you again, and we have to do this after all this, and we're all in the clear. And what do you say we ride together?
Definitely, definitely. You need to come out to our neighborhood. There's a lot less traffic, and
You bet, you bet. So yeah, so we're gonna have a follow up on the motorcycle lifestyle, and with bike talk, and it's the motorcycle lifestyle for you. We have a lot of answers for the questions you might want to ask, and we can talk about the insurance aspect of it. We can talk about cost, etc., the technical aspect of it. This is just basically getting started. So Raul, thank you for being on the show, and we would like to invite you once again if you're game.
yeah,
So,
time Art.
right, right. And if you have time, if you're in the area in Santa Rosa, you can always visit Motori Moderni. Sorry, I'm bad at Italian. I just say pizza and cannelloni and okay, let me do that again. I'm sorry, I bungled it. I'm so sorry, my friend. If you're in the Santa Rosa area, Please visit the Motori Moderni Corsa. Thank you. Thank you. I was able to speak it correctly. Okay, so Raul Ylanan, a good friend of mine, great motorcycle guy. And, if you can find him in the shop, that's much better. So thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. All
Thank you.
right.
It was great chatting with you.
And there you have it. Thank you very much, Mr. Raul Ilanan of Motori Moderni, for answering a lot of questions and enlightening a lot of our viewers out there. We have a very significant topic coming up, and it's all about insurance, especially if you're a motorcyclist. Yeah, Miss Pinky Luna D is the SAVP of Standard Insurance in Malolos, Bulacan. And then tonight, we're going to be talking about a very significant topic, especially for those people who are thinking of shifting into two-wheeled mobility because of the situation. Maybe for convenience, a lot of other aspects, economic reasons. So it's a very, very significant concern and topic that we'll be discussing right now. And of course, on the aspect of the insurance, will riding a motorcycle affect your insurance? Ayan. So, Miss Pinky, I'm going to ask you first and foremost, with standard insurance, is there a special insurance policy dedicated for motorcycle riders?
Yes, sir. At Standard Insurance, we have a particular policy for motorcycle. It's called Motorcycle Protect.
Oh, there you go. So it's really tailor cut or tailor made for motorcycle riders. Kasi nga naman iba yung needs and iba yung risks that the motorcycle rider is being exposed to while being on the road. In a capsule, ano po yung difference ng insurance policy for a motorcycle rider than a regular insurance policy for typical car driver?
Okay. We have a special package for motorcycle simply because it's an open vehicle. Unlike four wheels, di ba, meron siyang pinto and meron siyang lock. While motorcycle, it's really open. So in standard
Right.
insurance, we have third to the need. We created a specific product for that. It's because we have already catered for it for more than 10 years now.
I see.
Actually, since it's an open vehicle, we don't usually cover it for theft or carnap.
I see.
But then, since yearly, we check the risk and it seems that it's okay. So, upon approval of our risk management, we cover including carnap.
I see.
Like
So
that.
we call it bike nap. Dahil bike na siya, di ba?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
Yeah.
we have to change that term as well. So uh pero with regard to the person naman, like personal insurance, like for example, no, of course, especially those who are buying high-end motorcycles, it really, I mean, I think it's a requirement for them to insure their bikes, no? So that makes a lot of sense, and that's nga, it. I guess it's also advantageous to get an insurance policy that's dedicated to motorcyclists. So on the side of the motorcycle, yeah, that's covered. What about the rider? Kasi nga, would it affect somebody's life insurance policy if nakastate or it's known that he's a motorcycle rider?
Actually, no, it's just an additional coverage because with motorcycle policy, what's actually included is the vehicle itself for own damage and theft.
Okay,
Some get acts of nature coverage for flood and typhoon,
right.
earthquake. So usually big bikes because mahal na sila, 'di ba? They're more than
Yeah.
500,000. They
Mhm.
get acts of nature coverage. And then we have personal accident rider insurance that covers the driver itself. Um, and then for medical reimbursement and death.
I see. So it's like a package. So both
It's
when
a
you get
package.
that, it's a package. So when you get your bike insured, kasama na yung insurance ng rider. Right. I
Yes,
see.
right. Sir. And we can also include third-party property damage. This
I see.
covers yung other vehicle na pwedeng mabangga ng motorcycle and
Yes.
also third-party bodily injury, which
Yeah, like
is an
pedestrian.
extension. Yeah. Um, which is the extension of compulsory third-party liability insurance, which is required by the government.
I see. So that is basically the equivalent, or just the same as comprehensive insurance policy, like basically
Yes,
covers everything.
everything. Yeah.
Gotcha. So if that's like basically a holistic approach to basically getting insured on every aspect of riding a motorcycle. So your motorcycle is safe in terms of its value being insured, and then of course for bodily injury or even unfortunately death covered then. But for example, sabihin natin na you want to get, kasi I know other people, they get multiple insurance policies. Isa talagang life insurance policy lang. It does not, ano ba, being a rider does not affect the kind of policy that you will get, or will it affect the premium, the cost of it? Will it?
If you have a life insurance and then you have a comprehensive insurance for the motor vehicle, like the
Yes.
motorcycle, and it has personal accident insurance, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's just an add-on. It's an additional parang cover for you, but it doesn't affect your life insurance package.
I see, I see. Okay, but question: what is the smallest cost of the bike, or the smallest value of the bike that is insurable? Is there like a
We,
minimum?
we cover 60,000.
Sixty
Those are
thousand.
the entry level. Yeah,
I see.
entry level motorbikes up to 1 million. Motorcycle, high end motorcycle.
Yeah, actually, some motorcycles sometimes hit 3 million pesos. Yung mga medyo cruisers out there, and then the really exotic Italian super bikes, yung mga ganyan. Yeah, so sky's the langit, so to speak. Kasi nga talagang the categories of motorcycles are really so diverse. From the most affordable, na, di ba, you can get one for under 30,000 pesos, and all the way up na talagang literally your sky's the langit. It's so yeah, it makes a lot of sense to really, especially these days, no, when of course the motorcycle industry is thriving. At meron po bang spike in the sales of insurance? Napansin niyo ba yung increase ng motorcycle riders in the past few years? How
Yes,
significant was this increase? Go ahead.
particularly in my branch, we really saw the increase of the motorcycle insurance for both low end and high end. Especially last year, ang daming bumili ng high end motorcycle. Sa madami kasing bagong brands, 'di ba, na
Right.
dumating. So,
Yes. Yes.
and they are already aware of the insurance requirement because yun nga, it's their property and they want to insure it.
Right. It's actually an investment kasi nga, they could easily match the cost of an actual car, a four-wheeled vehicle, di ba? So, okay. But the real surge in sales for motorcycles are those on the medyo lower end. A lot of underbones, a lot of standard motorcycles out there, a lot of scooters, di ba? Kasi ano talaga, it's become a very viable and economical mode of transport for everybody, because, well, I have to be honest about it, our public transportation system here is one of the worst in the world. I have to be blunt about that, kasi kung hindi naman talaga magkakapila sa tren, or napakaraming jeep and all that, talagang ang dami mong sasakyan para umabot from point A to point B, it wouldn't be necessary for a lot of people to procure or acquire their own mode of transportation. Kaya ang tao bumabaling sa pagbili ng motorsiklo. Kaya dumami talaga and nag-thrive yung motorcycle business. And then, not only that, from the mainstream, yung broad aspect ng motorcycling, sumikat din ang motorcycling again. There was, I don't know. I mean, like, some of the motorcyclists might not agree na biglang sumikat uli, but there's been a very noticeable surge kasi nagdatingan yung mga high-end brands, as you've said, di ba? Nag-reflect yan sa sales ng insurance, even the high-end motorcycle insurance policies have really moved up. and increased in number. Kasi dumating yung mga Italian, yung mga German, ayan na yung mga American brands, and medyo naging, just to be simplistic about it, dumami yung mga artistang nagmumotor, and then I'm sure nag-influence yan sa mga maraming tao din, mga followers nila, mga fans nila, di ba? Parang they want to be like their stars, they're gonna get bikes too, and they're gonna modify their bikes, and nagiging cafe racers, so dumadami talaga. So has it become a more significant chunk in the sales of standard insurance? Parang ito ba nagiging noticeably more profitable segment sa inyo?
Actually, on my part, I can only speak on my branch.
Okay.
It is profitable in the sense that I have to get bulk or a big number of motorcycle to be insured so that I could be profitable. If I only get a small portion of it, I don't think it's that profitable. Kasi depends on the market, lalo na if it's mga everyday ginagamit sa pagtrabaho.
Yes.
Medyo high risk. But then yung high end, we saw na di sila masyado high risk because they only use it pag weekends and
Yeah.
pang ano lang, leisure lang, biking.
Right. Tsaka, syempre, pinapreserve nila yung value ng yung bike nila. Not to put a lot of mileage or potential wear and tear on the vehicle, di ba? On the motorcycle. But yun na nga, I guess, especially in Malolos, I'm sure the lower end motorcycles or the most basic entry level have become more, what do you call this? Maraming gumagamit talaga. Kasi nga, of course, with the resurgence, with the increase of people using online purchasing, syempre, yung delivery services, the courier services like Grab, Lalamove, food delivery service like, Food Panda and all that, talagang naging, dumami yung paggamit ng motosiklo. So, not only has it become a viable mode of transportation for, kumbaga, the low-income family, ito yung panghatid niya sa asawa niya, for example, na nagtatrabaho, imbis na pumila sa MRT. And then after that, gagamitin din niya yung motor para pagkakitaan. And in fact, a lot of them, the motorcycles pay for themselves because of the services they get into, like, Grab delivery, etc. Diba? So, yeah, all this is becoming, it's changing the landscape on the street, kumbaga, the traffic. So, I'm sure mapapansin nyo when you go to work and go home from work, talagang dumami yung bikes, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, madami. In Luzon, especially in Luzon, parang areas of Nueva Ecija, Bicol, and the northern part of Luzon, more of motorcycles sila kasi there's not a lot of jeepneys or buses that are traveling there. So in the provinces talaga, ang mode of transport nila is yung mga motorcycle.
Yes, and it's it's quite accessible, di ba? Even if you're a really low income family, there's a way to get a motorcycle. And the motorcycle brands, because of the competition, they're really becoming really aggressive with regard to selling their bikes, di ba? So pinapadali nila yung installment scheme, yung low down payment or low monthly. So it's very easy to acquire a bike. And I need to stress that it's also very important to learn to ride the motorcycle properly and follow the rules of the road, traffic laws and regulations. They have to be really followed for safety's sake. Tapos protektahan mo. When you follow that, napoprotektahan mo yung sarili mo at the same time yung pamilya mo. Kasi di ba, kung ikaw yung breadwinner at ang ikaw inaasahan, then you have to really take care of yourself. So, in parting, ma'am, and salamat for being on the show. Ano po yung ma-advise niyo for those into hi there? Oh, that's your daughter, no? Where'd you go? Disappeared. Okay. Anyway, di ba? What can you advise those people who are getting into motorcycles, who would like to get into riding a motorcycle for the first time, or thinking of getting into yun nga, a service where gagamitin nila yan pang trabaho, di ba? So what is the best advice you can impart with?
Mhm. Well, I really recommend to get motorcycle insurance for motorcycle because it covers you in case of partial losses. We know that bicycles can easily slide and
Yeah.
then get into accidental collision, especially
Hmm.
in ISA, in Metro Manila, where it's traffic.
Yeah.
So it's for them to have financial security in terms of someone has their back in paying for those um, biglaang expenses, like
Yeah.
when you bump a car, there's a coverage for that. And
Right.
then when you slide and then you damage your motorcycle, there's a coverage for that too. And then if in case of total loss, hindi na siya talaga repairable, then we also pay for the
Right.
uh, fair market value of the motorcycle. So it's
That's right.
really
A
it's
very
really
sensible
cheap
thing to do.
naman eh. I mean, not that cheap, but it's just a portion of
Sige, would
for
you,
your peace of mind.
right.
It's not
Would you mind
that
giving me an
high.
example? Sabi natin, a motorcycle that's worth 60,000. What is the typical cost of insurance for it? The best package you can get.
Um, it's below 5,000, maybe around 3,000 pesos. It has
That's
own
per year.
damage, third
Okay.
party, yeah, for a year, property damage, and
Right.
then theft coverage and personal accident, but not acts of nature. So as low as 3,000, you can get insured for motorcycle at 60,000 worth.
Great. That's negligible. I mean, like, I mean, hindi siya ganun kahirap i-produce, lalo na kung ang insurance na period is 1 year. So,
1 year,
and you can
yeah.
also opt to increase that for better coverage, di ba? So you can choose
Mm-hmm.
a more valuable policy, or a policy
Yes.
that has more coverage. So fantastic. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so yung mga kababayan natin diyan na nag-iisip na kumuha ng motorsiklo, na sabi natin para gumaan ang pagko-commute papunta sa trabaho, lalo na ngayon, syempre kakaunti ang masasakyan nyo at mahirap sumakay dahil sa sitwasyon natin. Very sensible na magkaroon ng motorsiklo, pero mas sensible na meron kayong proteksyon. Hindi lang para sa sarili nyo, hindi lang para sa motorsiklo nyo, para sa potential na pwede nyo masaktan kung sakali magkaroon kayo ng aksidente with another party, di ba? So, hindi nyo sasagutin ng buong buo ang expenses kapag dumating ang mga hindi inaasahan na pangyayaring ganyan. So, it's very sensible to acquire an insurance policy and have your bike insured. Ang maganda ron, pakita na siya, di ba? Insured na yung bike mo, insured ka na rin at the same time. And I guess that follows with the larger bikes. In fact, those who invest in really expensive motorcycles, of course, they understand the investment that's involved in it, and they always sensibly protect their investments. So they do get the proper insurance for it as well. And I'm sure standard insurance, all the packages from the entry level insurance policy, like you said, like as low as 3,000 pesos for a 60,000 peso bike, all the way up to your most exotic, most prized possession on two wheels. so, so Miss Pinky Luna D, it's a very nice, enlightening conversation with you. Thank you for gracing our show for tonight, and we hope to have you back next time when we have more questions to ask you.
Sure.
So maraming
Thank you,
salamat po.
Din.
Well, that just about wraps it up on our first episode of Bike Talk on Inquirer Mobility. We hope we got to answer most of your questions. And if you have more or any kind of topic requests, don't forget to comment them on our posts. Once again, this has been Artie. I'll catch you on the next episode. Please stay safe. I'll see you next time.